Today's webcast on the iMIS 20 2017 release. As Tara said, I'm Edward Wendling, Global Director of Marketing at ASI, and I'm joined today by one of our product champions, Brian Lindsay. We have a ton of material to cover today, so let's just jump right into the agenda. I'm going to first provide a brief overview of the new modules and feature highlights from previous iMIS 20 releases for the benefit of those of you who may not have yet upgraded to iMIS 20, and also for those who maybe haven't taken advantage of all those new features and modules. And then Brian's going to jump into a lot more detail about the specific new features and enhancements in the 2017 release. And then finally, we'll be here to answer any questions that you have. So first, just a little background on this release. This is the fourth major release of iMIS 20 since its launch in May of 2013. The release is currently available as what we call an early adopter release, and you can get it at imis.com/iMIS 2017. And don't worry, we'll put that link up at the end of the presentation as well. We anticipate the general availability release will be available later this spring. Each iMIS 20 release builds upon and enhances the iMIS 20 engagement management system, the RISE web development platform, and continuous business intelligence capabilities to help clients better engage with constituents and ultimately to realize continuous performance improvement. With each new iMIS release, we continue to extend our vision of the only engagement management system for the not-for-profit world, replacing obsolete CRM and AMS systems. And it's the RISE web development platform, the central nervous system of iMIS 20, that makes all of this possible by concentrating database management and web publishing into a single, easy-to-use application. With iMIS 20, your website and business system are one and the same. So first, I'm thrilled to share with everyone the results of a recent independent survey of association and membership software by a company called Lehman Associates. Without getting into too much detail on the survey because of the time we have here, I just want to let you know that the survey showed that iMIS 20 was top rated among all solutions in terms of built-in web CMS capability, mobile delivery, executive dashboards, and social media options. So we're thrilled about that. Those are all areas we've been working hard on with iMIS 20. The study also showed that iMIS remains the leader in meeting client expectations for performance and for the 6th year in a row, and also remains the market leader used by nearly 1 in every 4 associations worldwide, and that's an important item to note, I think. So again, before we go into the details about the 2017 release, I'm going to provide a brief overview of some of the key new features in iMIS 20 and some of the key new modules from the previous iMIS 20 releases. Let's start with, again, the RISE web development platform, which I just talked about. RISE is the foundation of iMIS 20, and it's the tool that you use to tailor your staff administrative site, as well as your online membership application, online giving, and e-commerce web pages. RISE also includes tools that make it easy to publish queries, charts, or other data right from your iMIS system to web pages. And for many organizations, RISE also has the power to manage your entire web presence, but you can also use RISE alongside your existing content management system if you wish. And as I was talking through these bullet points, the images that we're cycling through were actually websites built with RISE, and you can view more of those at imis.com/RISE websites. iMIS 20 also comes with a number of pre-built and configurable dashboards, and you can easily build your own dashboard. Brian's going to show a lot more of this in his presentation. From these dashboards, you can not only view and access information in real time, but you can also drill down to get more information. You can export lists, and you can even email groups directly from the dashboards. The dashboards are critical, really, for helping your organization to achieve what we see as of critical importance, continuous performance improvement through the real-time measurement of KPIs. And we're finding more and more that these dashboards are starting to really replace older style reports. iMIS 20 also includes a responsive web-based staff administrative site. This was a big part of the previous release. It's easy to use, and you can use it on any size screen or device. I've got a quick video to just show you how this works. Let's take a quick look. So what we're doing is we're looking at iMIS on a standard desktop, and you can see as we move to a tablet and then to a mobile phone that the content resizes, including navigation, to fit the device. So as you can see, You can do everything in iMIS on a mobile device or a tablet that you can do on a desktop device. It's truly a responsive system, and your staff can access it anytime, anywhere, on any device. Now quickly on to a few of the key new features / modules that have been released with iMIS 20. So if you upgrade to iMIS 20, you get all the features you need to create and send emails. If you need the ability to track delivery, open, and click rates for either an individual email or an email campaign, then that's when you need to purchase a license for Email Marketing Plus. So let's just quickly go over the features that are included when you upgrade to iMIS 20. You can create email communications and preview those before sending. You can send emails to individuals or segmented lists based on standard or user-defined queries. You can create multiple email templates to ensure that list messaging and your brand is consistent. You can personalize emails, of course, by merging any kind of data from your iMIS system, and you can add attachments like PDFs and also reports, SSR reports to emails. You can also define multiple email types within iMIS and manage communication preferences and unsubscribe. So that's included when you upgrade to iMIS 20. The Plus features give you the ability to track delivery, open, and click rates for an individual email or an email campaign, and you get access to that through a real-time dashboard. The Plus version also allows you to monitor and update undeliverable emails and record email delivery, open, and click rates on individual contact records. Next, we want to talk quickly about process automation. This is also a very big addition that's available in iMIS 20. It's comprised of two distinct features, scheduled tasks and visual alerts. Scheduled tasks can be an email, a report attached to an email, or a specific stored procedure. They can be run at set time intervals, like every hour, every day, or every week, and they can be based on specific queries or changes to the database tables in the iMIS system, such as when a row or a piece of data, let's say, has been inserted, deleted, or updated. Some common examples of a scheduled task would include an event reminder email, a membership renewal fee reminder, thank you notices, and also staff data entry, corrections, or prompts. Visual alerts are targeted and personalized messages that can be in two places. One would be on your website, and they would appear when your member or donor or constituent logs in. Examples here would be a reminder to register for a specific event, or to renew their membership fee, or to support a fundraising campaign, or even to update missing contact information. The visual alerts can also be specific messages to your staff. So when your staff are in the administrative site and they pull up a constituent's record, they can get a prompt to update missing data, or if they're actually on the phone with that constituent to promote a specific event or product when viewing their record. Now, when you upgrade to iMIS 20, you have access to the library of pre-built tasks and alerts, and you can edit the underlying data queries for these, but if you want to modify them significantly or create your own, that's when you need to purchase a license for Process Automation Plus. With iMIS 20, we have a new web-based certification module. With this module, you can specify any combination of requirements for a certification, including events attended or products purchased. You can allow your applicants to apply for and monitor their progress towards certifications online. And you can, of course, also send automated email notifications to communicate the status of an application or to remind people to renew their certification using the email and process automation features. You do have to license this module to use it if you are not already licensed for certification. However, if you are licensed for certification and you upgrade to iMIS 20, then this is a new version, web-based version of certification for you. Finally, last module that I want to highlight is AutoPay. AutoPay is a great tool for maximizing member and donor retention. It does, really kind of exactly what it sounds like. You can enable the automatic renewal of membership fees and recurring donations. You can set this up so that when members join online or renew online, and of course the same thing for donations, that this is something they can opt into or opt out, and your staff can also individually add members and donors to this program. AutoPay is not included with iMIS 20, and this is a brand new module that you need to license. Okay, I got through that pretty quick, which is great, so I'm going to go ahead now and pass control over to Brian. Should be coming to you to to take over and take us through the 2007 release highlights.
All right. So welcome everyone. I'm Brian Lindsay and I'm a product manager in the Austin office, and our development teams are very excited to be rolling out this new release. A lot of great things in it, which I think you'll see as we go through our presentation. But to start, let's go over a quick summary of what I'm going to be discussing today. At last count, we have included over 150 enhancements and new features in the 2017 release. These are some of the big items that will be quickly visible in the release, but even more items have been added within the staff site. ASI is committed to making the features you know and love from the desktop and moving those into the staff site. And I'm going to highlight a bunch of those today. Understanding your data is critical, so we have included many new dashboards as well as many new SSRS reports. In today's online world, keeping your constituents' information private, of course, is critical. The 2017 release includes many new security enhancements that address our cyber threats that we have today. So let's get going, and I'm going to kind of go down the staff site by community membership if you were looking at the online staff site. So let me go ahead and move on. So in the Q4 2015 release, we introduced our scoring engine. In the 2017 release, we completed the new scoring module by adding the ability to categorize individuals and companies by scores to give a clear picture of engagement. So with the new scoring module, you can calculate engagement using components such as event, attendance, products, purchase donations, committee participation, volunteer hours, online community participation, email opens, and website visits. You can define your scores by giving each component a unique multiplier to suit the needs of your organization. Group engagement scores. We can group engagement scores by percentile or total score and define related categories such as leader, active, and at risk. Of course, we can allow constituents to see their engagement score and underlying formula to foster competition in engagement. And of course, we can use engagement categories for targeted initiatives such as contacting at-risk members. So let's take a look. Here we have a dashboard with a snapshot of overall engagement for contacts for our organization. Notice the total engaged contacts, recently engaged, newly engaged across the top. Those are all being driven by IQA queries. What is new in the 2017 release is the color-coded engagement by category funnel chart. By using scoring, we can lump our contacts into categories that the organization defined to better understand our constituents. At the bottom of the screen, notice the tabs. Once we categorize our contacts, we can further analyze and perhaps pay more attention to our top contacts, or more importantly, figure out how to encourage those contacts who are at risk. Since this is powered by IQA, we can now drill down and have a list we can use to contact those at risk by using the iMIS communication suite. If we drill down to an individual contact and view their profile, we can see the engaged, how each contact is engaged and where they're engaged at by the chart on the right. Just like contacts, we can also measure how engaged a company or entity is with us. On the dashboard, notice that the category levels change, demonstrating we can have different levels for different areas we are trying to measure. As with contacts, we can further slice our data to filter on areas we are interested in, such as at-risk organizations. And just like individuals, we can now drill down to a specific company and analyze its level of engagement with our organization. When you upgrade to the 2017 release, the new scoring module is included. You have access to 2 scores, one for individual and one for organizations, and you can edit the score components, weights, and categories. If you need to define new scores, then you must license the Scoring Plus module. Next month, we are holding product webcasts specifically on the engagement module, so please mark these dates on your calendar. In an effort to maintain PCI compliance and strengthen overall security in iMIS, several security-related updates were implemented in this release. Associated changes relate to passwords, encryption, and multi-factor authentication, as well as credit card retention and storage. So what you're seeing here is on the bottom is our multi-factor authentication, and we're using Google to do this, and you do this with your bank accounts probably. You log in, and they're going to send you a code. The same thing will work with iMIS. This is for our PCI compliance. And then a few more changes you'll see over on the right is the ability to set password expirations, password reuse, and session timeouts. For administrators who can access the credit card gateways, this will have to be required to maintain PCI compliance. However, you can also apply that to your staff users. Now, we also understand that some people don't use the commerce piece of iMIS, and so those can be disabled as well. But we really do encourage everyone to take advantage of this. One of the things we've been doing with the 2017 release is moving desktop functionality to the web. And we'll just kind of cover some of those in the community section, and we'll go by events, membership, that type of thing. We've also added some new features such as address verification and volunteers. So let's go ahead and just take a look. So now you can go to the staff website and create your committees. You can do everything you could do in the desktop here on the staff website. So here we can actually go in and actually create the committee, and then we can go in and add individuals to that committee. Now, one of the things I always point out, since this is all query driven, you have a nice way to get a roster real quick. And of course, you see the export at the top right. And then I could actually email those folks in this committee at the bottom using our communication suite. We can then drill into each individual and set them what kind of type of member they're going to be on this committee, whether they're an applicant or proposed. Likewise, we can set their position as well as their term. So everything we could do in the desktop, we can now do on the staff website with committees. One of the things that we know a lot of people like to use was the activity task in the desktop, so we've now moved that to the web. And so now as a staff user, I can log in and see the list of activities assigned to me. And from there, I can review those and drill down. Perhaps we want to look at Alex Morgan, and we can see the history we have with Alex Morgan and what actions need to follow up with. And of course, as a staff user, I may want to call him back, and I want to update that saying I did call him back, and perhaps follow up with some additional information or assign it to another staff user. For address verification, all our sites are now using Experian as our global address verification service. The one thing we did add for the UK customers primarily was the ability to put in postal codes. So I put in a postal code, it's going to give me a nice lookup to get me to the exact block or whatever, and then give me a drop down of people who live in that block to just speed up the entry of data into the system. So again, we've updated our address verification service. One of the new modules we've added is what we call volunteers. And this is really a neat module in that it's all using our iParts with a few table changes. But you'll see our new website here, which is using our Great Barrier Reef, which I'll talk about shortly. I can go in and create a volunteer sign up. And so this will be in our starter website that when you upgrade to 2017 release, you'll get. And then we can ask the volunteer to put in information such as their age group, emergency contact, what days they're able to work. So this is from the user or the volunteer standpoint. At this point, as a staff user, I'm going to have a volunteer dashboard. And what this does is allow the staff user to see how their volunteer effort is going. And notice how on the far right side, we've got some new alerts. That's just saying that something needs to be done for the staff to follow up with this volunteer. Of course, we can drill down into a volunteer's record and ask additional information. So I'm a staff user. Perhaps we want to keep more sensitive information on him. Again, this is using the all iParts. And at this point, if I'm satisfied with that, I can do a find. I want to find everybody who's available to work on a certain day or have a certain skill set. So volunteers has been added to the staff site. It's something new in the 2017 release. So let's move on to membership. So in membership, we've moved from the desktop to the staff site, the ability to manage your chapters, manage expired members, as well as billing setup. We've also added a couple of new options with the new join options, which I'll talk about shortly, as well as enhancements to autopay. So the first thing, just similar to committees, is we can now create and edit chapters through the staff website. And of course, we can drill into that, and we have the roster of everybody on that chapter. I can also add people to a chapter. Notice that it is using IQA, so we can have different filters for who we're viewing. And of course, you can now do an export as well as email everybody in that particular chapter. We've moved manage expired members from the desktop over to the staff website. And so this is just giving you an example of how that works. So here we have, I want to do a search first for everybody who's a particular member type, a particular date. And then if you notice at the bottom right, with this set of records, I want to switch everybody that's in this set of records to a new member type. So rather than being applicant, I want to switch them to prospect, and perhaps I want to set their status to inactive. Once I run that, it's going to go off in the background because you may have thousands of records you're updating at that point, but you're going to get a log file. And from here, you can actually review that and see that their member type was changed from applicant to prospect, that type of thing. And then, of course, you can always drill down into a record. We always try to give you links to get back to the individual. And then you'll see the change history down here at the bottom, where we can see that his member type was changed from applicant to prospect and his status was changed from active to inactive. We've now allowed the setup of billing in the staff website, and you'll see more and more of this in the next coming releases as well. But here we can actually set up the whole billing module through the staff site. We can set up things such as the products and the billing cycles as well. And so these are just screens showing you how to do this. This is actually, to me, much easier to do than actually going into the desktop and setting that up. One of the new options we've added is the ability to allow non-members and inactive members to join. The other thing we've done is added the ability to join in advance. So perhaps my term is not up. For whatever reason, I've got a 12-month term, but I want to rejoin at 9 months. We're going to allow you to do that. So this is an example of Anthony Adams, who's a non-member. If we have it set up the way we want it, we're looking at a public-facing site here, we can go in and direct him to a page with his member options and let him choose what it is he wants to join and complete the checkout process. The way this is set up is pretty simple. When you edit the invoice payment link I part, you'll see the two items there that are highlighted. The top is enable join button for non-members, and then the bottom one is the ability to enable members to join in advance. Now this is going to be a global setting, so when we go to our billing setup, which I showed you earlier, or commerce settings I should say, as an organization you can determine who's going to allow this. Maybe it's only staff members can join people in advance, or members. Likewise, how many days in advance are we going to allow them to join? For recurring membership, we have included in the 2017 release a new dashboard. Similar to the other dashboards, these are all query driven within IQA, which allows the organization to monitor data that is important or unique to them. These dashboards are but one tool that can help organizations anticipate future revenue, as well as detect and manage potential problems, such as credit cards that are getting ready to expire, or perhaps even failed payments. Members who choose to have their membership fees renewed automatically now have the ability to add additional payment methods as well as update existing payment information, such as updating a credit card expiration date. Staff also have the ability to update expiration dates when viewing a member record. So now we'll move on to events. And what we've moved from the desktop to the web is some of these setup options that we have, and we'll go through those. And then we've added some pretty exciting new features. The event pricing by group I'm really excited about, as well as a tool for issuing event confirmations. So previously with conflicts, you would set up a code in each one and then have them, if the two program items had the same code, you would get a conflict message. What we've added is the ability to enable time-based itinerary conflicts. So as a default, if you just set up the program with the times and a user comes in and perhaps registers for two program items that occur at the same time, they're going to get an automatic response telling them they need to change that. We still have the other way to do it as well, but just kind of give you an example, here's one that starts at 9, and here's a program item that starts at 9:30, so they overlap. So we're giving the user and the staff a message saying, hey, these are in conflict with each other. Now staff can go ahead and register the particular participant for both if they so desire. Likewise, if you still want to use the old way to do it, put the two codes in, you can still do that. That is an option there for you as well. For CEUs, staff users can define continuing education units and mark attendance for course attendance on the web. From the web, CEUs can be awarded and adjusted CEU type specified. So here we see when we set up our program item, we'll see down an option there to award the credits. And once the event is finished, the staff can go in and check who all attended and who did not attend. What's nice about this is when I'm looking at the dashboard, if I go to the registrants, I can also get to that there as well, the button at the top. And of course, you want to start finding individuals as well. Perhaps somebody was incorrectly marked, and so we got a nice find in place to find that person and update their CEU credit. Now moving on to one of the most exciting things I think in this release is the event pricing by groups. And what this does is allow us to define special pricing for people who belong to a group. So out of the box, we're going to ship groups already created for committees, roles in a committee, whether it be like a president, vice president, that type of thing. Of course, for chapters, member types. But what's really nice is the ability to use IQA to do that. And so just to give you an example, over on the left-hand side, I've got a program, an agenda here for a particular event. However, if somebody is from the state of Texas, I want them to see a special event that is designed only for them. And so when they log in, they will actually see it, whereas everybody who is not in the state of Texas would not see that. And of course, there's a price associated with that. So to set this up, it's pretty simple. We did roll out the groups in IQA, I believe, in the last release, but we're just taking it to the next level. So what I did is I went in and I created a query called Texas Residents. So it's a very simple query. I click on the group tab and I create my group, and then we have some options there, how often it's going to be refreshed. And then when I go into my program item for the special event just for Texas folks, you can see that I can click on the pricing tab, and this is where I apply it. So this say for this group, give them this price. And so that's how easy it is to set up. Of course, the nice thing about group pricing is it's dynamic, so whenever new contacts are added or whatever, they're automatically added to that group. We've added some new event template functioning. So here we have, we did some of this in the last release, but we've kind of improved on it. You can create a template for events that you have over and over and over. Perhaps you got a webinar template, a committee meeting template, that type of thing. Or we also have the ability to go in and just copy an existing event. And of course, when you copy an existing one, it's going to copy everything over but the registrants and the financials, but it will preserve things such as your survey questions. Once you have that created, you can go in and edit the category. So this is going to be new in the 2017 release. A lot of times people have queries based on categories, and so this will facilitate that. Also, if you're using the meeting user-defined fields, this is where you would actually access those as well. One of the things we've added in this release is issuing event confirmations. It's a nice, neat way to do it. And so the beauty of this is you can create a template, and that template could be for a specific event, and that template could also contain something like a confirmation, if you will, an attached report. And so the way this works is at the top, you've got your confirmation template, you've got your option of how you want to send it. Are you going to email it to the registrant? Or are you going to print it out for them? And then you have a query to find the people you want to send this to. So obviously, you know, the event title starts with their event code, and it could even be down to the person. So here I want to find everybody with the last name Aaron. At that point, I've got my set that I want to send this to. Oh, the one thing I will point out is, see the confirmation sent at the bottom? So you don't resend a confirmation if they've already gotten one. So once I have my query set, I'm going to issue confirmations at the bottom of the screen, and it's going to send out. So Lindsay Aaron calls up and says, I lost it. Can you resend it to me? Of course, since it's using Communication Suite, we can go into our interaction log, which you see there in the middle, the registration confirmation for the annual conference. We can click on that and get see exactly what was sent to Lindsay. And this is the HTML formatted email. And of course, down at the bottom is the attachment of her confirmation. The one thing we also added was at the top, you see the resend. So now as a staff user, I can resend this to her quite quickly. And this is an example of the SSRS report for the event confirmation that is included in the 2017 release. Moving on to commerce, one of the things we've added is if you have products that are non-inventoried, we will hot post those, so you don't have to go through the stages of order processing. It'll go directly to invoice. And then we've added several other setup options here as well. One thing I will point out is we have added support for the MasterCard 2 series. Those are usually kind of the affinity cards, if you will, they're coming out. So to kind of look at these real quick, we have a button down at the bottom to print the AR statement. Of course, this could be for staff, but you could also add this to the public-facing website, if you will. And unfortunately, our example here, Teresa Spain, is a very bad person. She owes us $6,800, it looks like. But when she clicks on it, she gets a nice printed report of what her AR statement is. For fundraising, we've added the ability to create gift items through the staff site, as well as some other new features. And so the first we'll talk about is the auto pay. And this is very much like the recurring membership, but this is for recurring donors. Here we have the dashboard, and what's nice about this is it's all query driven, and then we can go in and as a staff user view a particular gift. So here we're looking at John's record, and in the middle you see the recurring donations, and we can go in and edit this. And of course John is a public user, or a public donor I should say, could do this as well. But we're giving him the option to go in and change the amount of his pledge. We're also giving him the ability to say what day is it going to be pulled out of his account. Also, we're going to give him the ability to choose what account it's going to be pulled out of. And then when you see the transactions, even though I don't have an example down there, this would list all the installments perhaps, or everything that he's paid in the past on this particular gift. From a standpoint also, notice how we've got the automatic payment options. This is where if he wants to give us additional payment methods, we can do this. This is very much like how Amazon works. You know, you log into Amazon, you could have your checking account and 3 or 4 credit cards set up. We're giving them the option to have that as well. So this is all a part of AutoPay, which is an additional module. For tributes, we've improved our tribute notification process, and this works very much like the event confirmations. But once I have a user who's going to go in and make a gift on behalf of somebody, in memory of, in honor of, it'll go into the system, and now we can issue a tribute notification that's appropriate for that tribute. So first of all, we've got a template that we can use, very much like the events. You could have an attachment as well. How are we going to send this? Are we going to send it through email, or, if it's a very large gift, we'll probably print it out and call them or something. And then, we want to narrow it down to who we're going to send this particular messages to. Once we have our list, we'll issue it. So here we have the person we're going to issue, and we can go in and look at the interaction log and see that it was sent, and likewise we can review it and see the attachment. So a very handy way to issue tribute notifications. We've added a moves management dashboard. Staff users can view major donor statistics, giving amount, revenue from the moves management dashboard. Organizations can harness this data to better understand who to target for giving, review the status of all moves managers, and review the potential major donors for future giving. For RISE, we've added several new features. These are primarily the highlighted ones. Obviously, you've seen the new funnel chart for our scoring, our categories. We've added lots of new alerts. We've added the functionality to have multi-select fields and panel editor, IQA enhancements, and we'll go through several of these as well. We've also updated our RESTful API, just for those out there who are the developers. So to go through this, IQA enhancements, the first thing, I know this is fun to look at, IQA, but if you look down at the bottom, if this is a query that runs over and over and over, you're probably going to want to cache it, because what we do is we do a lot of caching in the 2017 release to improve performance. And so that's just one option I wanted to point out there. Likewise, when you're designing your query, this is what I really like, is I've got my filters, and in the past, if it wasn't displaying the way I wanted to, you would have to actually remove a filter, rearrange it, and then add the filter back where you wanted. So this was a hack day project that we have in Austin every now and then, and they added the ability to sort those filters, so you don't have to remove them and add them in specific order. So that's been a great enhancement to the IQA tool. We have issued a new theme as one of our starter sites. This is the Great Barrier Reef responsive site. It really takes advantage of today's design standards. It's full with images, some modern navigation controls. You'll see that the navigation is more in the middle of the page instead of at the very top. And again, what I would encourage you to do is when you upgrade to 2017, just activate this starter site, take a look at it. It's all responsive, as Edward mentioned, like our other websites. One of the things is it does use our template builder, which is a new approach. As everything moves to the cloud, we need to have more and more stored in the database versus on the web server. And so this is one nice way to get started with the template builder. We've added several setup options to the staff website. I'm pretty confident that you can pretty much set up everything in the desktop now. You can do that through the staff website. But we've also added some other things here as well, which I'll just go through real quick. First of all, over on the left-hand side in the staff set, there's a whole new section with settings. So this will be where you go to set up your events and that type of thing, the major settings, the billing, that type of thing. You'll see that over on the left-hand side. One of the things we've added for this release is the ability to purge the cache. And so as I said before, we put a lot of things into memory. And so if you're prototyping or whatever, you're not seeing your changes, what you could do is go purge the cache, which basically clears out the memory, and then you can go view your changes. So that's just a nice little tool we have. Our licensing is now going to be put in through the staff site. The license keys will remain the same as they do in the desktop, but you now have the option to put them in through the staff website. This is just showing you some examples of the system setup options. This is, pretty much customer, the address purposes, that type of thing. We also have gen lookup tables, which are actually easier to set up through the staff website than it is in the desktop, I believe. And then we also have the ability to create the financial entities. And this is also easier, I believe, as well, especially if you want to add a logo to your entity, that type of thing as well. We've added a bunch of new reports. So what we've been doing is we've been transferring all the Crystal reports that were in the desktop over to SSRS. First of all, the SSRS reports are web friendly, and so you'll see how many we've added for fundraising, accounting, commerce. We added some in the Q4 2015 release, but we pretty much added all the remaining ones in the 2017 release. One thing that, as Edward kind of mentioned, is reports are one of those things that if you have a dashboard, you may not need a Crystal report. Or that you can use a query to display on a page. You may not need a Crystal report. So if you see a report that is not there, please let us know and we'll look into it. But chances are we've got every report that an organization would need now using SSRS. These are just a few examples of those reports. This is the certificate of completion. I like this report. This is a promotion analysis, but it just kind of shows you what SSRS can do for you. And then, of course, I already showed you the AR statement. So that's all in there. Of course, you can take these and copy them and make them your own. So to kind of highlight, the big features of the 2017 release, even though we've got a ton in there, of course, is the engagement scoring and the ability to categorize not only for individuals, but for organizations. Lots of security and PCI upgrades. The multi-factor will be a big one for your organization. Lots of new enhancements. Encourage you to go out to the doc site. Lots of new reports. And of course, we've improved RISE. So that's what I have. I guess I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Edward.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Lots of information. Let me take control. Okay, I got it. Just a couple, three quick announcements I'd like to make, and then we'll jump to Q&A. Just want to make sure everybody's aware that we offer cloud services, which means we can host your iMIS system for you. We do this for over 400 clients. You can learn more and get pricing at imis.com/cloud. If any of the items such as enhancing data security, improving your system performance, reducing technology costs, relieving your IT staff time, if any of those are items that you're looking into, I really encourage you to take a look at our cloud services and consider moving your system over. Second item I want to make sure everyone's aware of, earlier this year we announced a brand new training program that we call the iMIS Learning Subscription. And what this program does is it gets you, for one yearly subscription fee, access to any of the online training classes we have scheduled. And we have something like over 1,000 hours of online training scheduled for you or anybody on your staff, so you can really take as much training as you want. We're currently offering an introductory price of 50% off. That's probably not going to last forever because this is proving to be very popular, so I really encourage you, if you think you're going to do any training this year, to go to imis.com/learning. If you're not going to do any training, I also encourage you to go there to take a look at it because it's a really affordable way to access our online training. Online training is very easy to take. The classes are typically about 2 hours in length. We have courses that cover all topics of iMIS. And again, it's online. It's always available there for you. Pricing is based on the number of users, so it's very similar to a module. So even if you only have 2 or 3 users, it's still something that likely is affordable for you. And again, we're offering it at 50% off right now, so please go take a look at that, imis.com/learning. And then just a quick plug for next month, actually technically this month, our April webcast coming up is going to be on the new scoring module. We're going to go into a lot more detail on that module. You can go register right now at imis.com/webcast. Just like we're doing with this webcast, we have 3 of them. For North American audiences, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on April 26th. Our 10 a.m. version also doubles for our Europe folks at 3 p.m. British Standard Time, and then for Asia Pacific we have one at 10 a.m. For that team, or that group. So again, mark that on your calendar and go to imis.com webcast to register, and of course we'll be sending out email invitations as well. Okay, so now to the Q&A. I just want to leave these up resources up here so you can see it, so where to download the release. But most important, I really want to highlight this, the release notes and information about this release are available at help.imis.com/imis 2017. Not only can you read, obviously at your pace, not in the condensed version that Brian and I did here, everything you need to learn about what's new with the release. There's a lot more information there. We've got a short recorded video that you can view. We're recording this presentation. I'm going to put that up there as well. But you can get a lot more information at our help site. I really encourage you to go there as your kind of next order of business to learn about this release. Okay, so with that, Tara, we are ready to open up the floor to questions. Hoping you have some.
Okay, and for those of you who joined me after I reviewed how you could do this, if you could please go down to the question box feature, type in whatever your question is, and I'll facilitate through them. We do have quite a few in the queue, so I'm going to go through them as quickly as possible, and I'll also, because nobody likes to be just sitting out there not knowing how many questions are still left in time frame, I will keep you posted as we're getting through them about how many more we have going. So for the first question, it is, will there be any enhancement plan for those who are using third-party email systems such as Real Magnet or Informs to take advantage of the new email statistics dashboard?
So first of all, our communication suite is with the advanced license is a fantastic product. Informs, of course, is one of the top leaders, and they're the leaders in their area. We're not going. We have our system, they have their system. It's just going to be up to the customer to decide what is best for for your organization. And maybe Edward, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, no, I definitely can. So first, just want to reference that Real Magnet was mentioned there, and the official partner for iMIS is Informs, and the integration between Informs and iMIS is superior to Real Magnet, and that's really the solution we recommend that you go with. But there is a place, as Brian said, for Informs and for iMIS. The best way I could describe it is that the email that comes in iMIS 20, our email tool, is ideal for a couple things. One is just typical one-to-one email. So from any system like iMIS, you need to be able to send an email to an individual or to groups. That's right in the system. That's available. The second is what I would call transactional email, and that would be things like event reminders or confirmations or receipts. Or membership renewals. Those are the types of emails that I think are really ideally done by our tool. Then the third would be the more traditional email marketing, where a tool like Informs comes in, or iMIS. And I'll just echo what Brian says, that at that level, it's really a decision of the client to make, and it just depends on what your requirements are. We use both at ASI and find that both are still good fits. So I mean, that's certainly fine if that's the route that you go as a client, but we obviously encourage you to take a look at our email tool and see if maybe it meets your needs.
Next question, can process automation be used to send a mass email from the marketing module?
Process automation be used to send a mass. So basically what process automation does is it takes a query result. So I want to say if I knew more information about that, I would say yes, because process automation is great to automate things like emails and that type of thing. So I need to know more information, but my inclination is to say, yeah, we can.
Yeah, and I
You're
would
basically
say
taking queries and templates and mailing them out. So yeah, sorry.
yeah, and I just like echo, what Brian said, that sure, it depends on what your definition of a mass email is, but yeah, the answer is yes. If you've got 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever registered for an event, and you want to schedule an automated event reminder for any of your events, a day before, 7 days before, then yes, it can not only send that mass email, but it can merge data from whatever you need to merge. So of course it can go, directly to Brian and say, Dear Brian, and it can also merge in information from the event that they're registered for, or whatever data from iMIS you're wanting to include in that email.
My next question, are the new PCI compliance settings going to default to enabled or no? We don't want our members to get a surprise without giving them plenty of notice beforehand.
So what will be enabled by default is those for the system administrators, not for the end users. That's just a PCI requirement. Obviously, you're going to want to try to do a test upgrade and to see, but by default, the system administrators will be enabled, but not your public users or your staff users, just system administrators.
Do the organization scores include purchase/activities of the people connected to the organization?
So basically, it's a set of queries. So if you can query it with IQA, then you're able to do that. Out of the box, we do use some activities as part of our score. So what I would encourage you to do is when you get the release, look at our starter site, and that'll give you a good indication of that.
Yeah, and Brian, I'd add on to that that the answer to that, yes. So an individual's engagement score could include products purchased, and then an organization's engagement score is an aggregate of individuals connected to that organization. So, 3 people who their engagement scores include products purchased, that's all aggregated into the organization engagement score.
Does the Assign To field on the activity task have a lookup available?
Right now, it does not, but that is something we're planning on. We can only fit so much into this release, and so that is one of the things that we know we needed to do, but it doesn't at this point.
Okay. Does the volunteer module require an additional license fee or additional licensing? And will it allow for the upload of documents from the member, such as resumes?
So it is not licensed, and we don't really call it volunteer management, volunteer administration, if you will, because volunteer management can apply a whole other thing. But yes, it does allow you to upload resumes, any kind of documents you want, and attach it to that volunteer's record. So it's not licensed, but yes, you can attach documents.
Do you have to be a system admin to manage expired members? What's the lowest security level to manage expired members?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I do not believe you have to be a system administrator to manage expired members. But I don't know the exact level of security at this point.
When will special pricing be available in the staff site?
So the groups is where we're going with special pricing. I know a lot of people want to use stored procedures. That's going to be something that will go away. But we are going to offer in a future release a way to create something that's very similar to the stored procedure pricing. But groups is the first step in doing that.
Okay. Next question is, they missed this part, so if you could reiterate, is if there was special pricing available on billing through the staff site?
Well, special pricing is still set up, so for billing specifically, so my previous answer was for events. Billing for special price with the billing is still set up through the desktop, And so that would still apply. So you still have that capability in the 2017 release. And it will transfer over to the web.
My next question. In chapters, can you have chapter-specific member types and statuses? That is to say that maybe they are active member of an international organization, but an inactive non-dues member of a local chapter.
So the way 300 works is you really can only belong to one chapter out of the box. So there may be some configuration that you could do there. But out of the box, iMIS generally only supports one chapter.
My next question, can you set up special pricing for the dues product that is available from the staff site?
At this point, you can't, so you can use groups, but you cannot set up a stored procedure for special pricing through the staff site for billing. You can do that through the desktop still, though.
Once we're totally on the staff site, ad hoc searches will go away. When running the dues billing process, there's an option to select an ad hoc search to process against a subset. Will there be an equivalent option to use IQA or some predefined query to select a subset?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not going to be in this 2017 release, but that is something the teams are actually working on as we speak right now. But they're absolutely correct. Ad hoc searches will go away, but you will be able to use IQA to do that.
Does the event cloning also clone the questions that may have been added to the original event?
Yes, it does. We call it copying on the web, but yes, it does copy all the questions that were on the original event.
Okay, my next question starts out with event confirmations. Yay! Can members reprint their own from a member site?
I believe the answer is yes. I will double check that, but I'm pretty sure they can. They would go to their, so they'd log in, go to their profile, go to their interaction log, and they would see the same thing that I showed there for the staff.
Yeah, I think that's yes, Brian. I
Yes.
picked up on that.
Okay, good.
Through it, yeah.
This is regarding autopay. I was told on 3 separate occasions that ASI can host the data vault for iMIS 300 users. However, ASI hosting said that they cannot host the data vault because of PCI compliance. Can you please clarify?
So this is probably some, okay, so my understanding is ASI will host Data Vault for customers who are on the ASI hosting center. That is my understanding. That may be something we need to clarify.
My next question, will there be a patch for the PayPal TLS issue and the new MC2 series numbers for iMIS version 20.1.19?
The Series 2, there should already be something out there for the Series 2 MasterCard numbers. And yes, there will be I think Rob's already posted it on the tech support, TechLet or something like that. There will be a hot fix for the TLS issue.
With the update, will the website have the same functionality that AR Cache currently has on the desktop?
That is the plan, absolutely. And actually it'll probably have even better functionality as far as usability. But yeah, the plan is to move all accounting to the staff website. And that's what the teams are working on right now.
But just to clarify, Brian, I think the question was about this particular release, unless I missed it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So in this release, it's not all there. All the setup is there, but things like, say you wanted to post a batch is actually being worked on right now. So it is not going to be in the 2017 release.
What version are the SSRS created in?
It would be what the supported version of, well, first, let me understand the question. Is it the SSRS version or the iMIS version? First of all, SSRS, it would be the supported version of SQL Server that we support, which we could look at the help site there to find out. As far as iMIS, I believe in iMIS 20, the original iMIS 20, we've supported SSRS reports.
Next question, for dues renewal invoices and the reports, are they available for members who prefer printed reports?
So the way that would work is, I believe they could get a PDF file, and then they would print that themselves.
In the last sprint review, it was said that now closing events will no longer purge data from the orders table. Is this in the 2017 EA release?
No, no, it's not. Everything shown in those sprint reviews will be in the next release, and so that was last week. So everything shown last week will be in the next upcoming release.
Is there more information available for the improvements of the RESTful API?
So the documentation is what we're working on. You can go out to the help site, I believe, the developer community, developer resources community, and that's where any updated documentation will be. I do know that the developers are actively monitoring that site, so if you do have a question, that's where we encourage developers to post those questions.
As setup options are moved to RISE, is the desktop setup options disabled?
No, they're not. No, they're not. We still have customers who want to use the desktop, or they've not upgraded yet, and so they're still, we've been very careful not to step on either one. So you now have another option where you want to set up things.
Is there an option for the learning subscription to be just by the person versus the price for the whole organization?
So I'm sorry, I missed that a little bit. So is there an option for the learning subscription to be for?
By the person versus the costs that are associated with the whole organization?
We don't have that defined, but I certainly encourage you to, if you're interested, to contact your account manager. It's possible, but the way we have it currently defined, it's something that's available for the whole organization, really based on the number of users you have. I still think even in that scenario, it's affordable for an individual who takes potentially 2 online training courses.
My next question, is this considered a full release like Q4 2015 or an interim beta release?
It's a full release.
Does the standard automated event confirmation go out and the issue confirmation sends a second confirmation?
So right when you sign up, there is still one that will automatically go out. Just a quick confirmation that they've registered once they pay.
Does AutoPay still only work with accrual dues, or does it work with the cash-based dues?
It is still accrual dues. We have to have an invoice that we can pay.
Okay. This one says follow up. Trying to find a way to schedule mass emails, i.e. weekly newsletters. Will process automation do that?
Well, yes, it will. You want to add to that, Edward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. So it's just a matter of, the query defines who receives it, which could be, just for example, all members of type XYZ, and as you add, new members to your database, they get put into this pool, and the process basically that you define is, saying, send, the email on, Monday at 10 a.m. or whatever, and of course before 10 a.m. you define your email. I think in that scenario, so the sending it, no problem. The only question is whether or not the template of our email tool, can support the content that you want to provide. But yeah, in terms of scheduling it to go at a certain time, it's definitely doable.
Does the iMIS email module have a limit on the number of emails? Within Forms, you buy a bulk number of emails and they expire in 1 year. Does this quantity and time limit exist in iMIS?
I can help a little bit with that. So to further explain the standard versus the plus version, email blocks do come into play when you move to the plus version. So without getting too far into the weeds, the standard version of emails are being sent a different way than they are in the plus version. So on the plus version, there's like a more robust email server, and that's how we're able to provide the reporting information that you need. And in that Plus version, you do have to buy email blocks. In terms of the time limit for those email blocks, I actually don't know the specific answer to that.
Under the new volunteer management feature, I noticed that there was an option for daytime and evening. Is it possible to further customize that option for smaller time slots, like 2-hour slots, hourly slots, etc.?
I believe it is. It might be kind of overwhelming when they go in to edit it, but it's just using a panel editor field, so you should be able to do that.
In the Q4 2015, the automatic group updates and scheduled tasks can be set to run a maximum of once per day. Does this release allow for more frequent scheduling, such as hourly?
Yeah, that part has not changed in the 2017 release.
Okay. Regarding customer engagement scoring, can you set up different scoring for different groups based on different categories, one for individuals, another for companies?
Sure, yeah, you can. One of the things is if you want to add your own scores besides the 2 that we ship, you would need the Plus license. But the scoring module is very powerful, so you can create as many different types of scores using many factors as you want.
Yeah, and the out-of-the-box scores that come with this release are for individuals and organizations. So those are there. If you wanted to, break individuals down into like 4 groups of individuals and multiple groups of organizations, separate scores, then as Brian said, you need to license the Plus version to basically unlock the ability to have more scores.
Okay. Moving on to my next question, as promised, we are close to the end. I would say probably about 10 to 12 questions remaining, as I did tell you I would keep you guys abreast of that. So my next question is, you mentioned you could upload documents for a volunteer application. Does this mean we can also upload documents on the member profile?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's using the same iParts. So you could take that same iPart and put it on a profile page.
We have several member types. When members renew, they sometimes would like to change their member type. Can that be done now?
The members themselves being able to change it, I don't believe so, unless they're going to renew as a different member type. But that's probably still not something they could do. That's something we have planned, like you want to upgrade your membership, that type of thing.
Yeah, although, Brian, wouldn't it be possible, I'm just thinking because we do this, to take the member type and like add it to a custom panel or something and allow?
Yeah, anything's possible. I just out of the box is kind of what I'm thinking. So,
yeah.
It could be possible.
It's just on the mini profile you can't, right?
Right. And then you want it to bill accordingly also. That's the other piece of it. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, my next question. Are stored procedures executable through the SSRS report in this version of iMIS?
That I don't know. I know we create views. I don't know about stored procedures through the SSRS report itself. I don't know the answer to that. That would be a good question to submit to product owners at avasol.com so we can follow up on that.
Okay.
Although I don't know. One thing to add to that, maybe I'm referencing something not related, but you can access stored procedures from the automation module. So you can have a process that fires off a stored procedure. I don't know if that's the same thing or not, but
yeah, I think if you send us the question, we can give you a better answer. Exactly where you want to run the stored procedure and how.
My next question, is there an expectation to have Is there an expectation to have automatic confirmations for events emailed to participants upon registration? And will those features be modifiable by event?
I think, yeah, actually there is plans to do that. and you've got the issue the confirmation that could be modified already that you saw in the issue confirmations. You could actually set a lot of those up in process automation to fire off. So if it's this event code, fire off this template. So you can do that already. It's still going to send out a kind of a standard confirmation that they've paid, but then you could send a nicer formatted one also with process automation.
Moving on, and I do see an end in sight. I have about 6 or 7 questions left in my queue, and my next question is going back to a question that was asked previously, and unfortunately that question has been moved out of my queue, but it was the one regarding if someone was a member of a chapter and they were paying dues versus not being a member of a chapter. And I don't know if maybe we need to have this gentleman ask that question again, but he was wanting to know regarding the chapters if he belonged to ASPCA that pays dues and also belong to Chicago ASPCA chapter but hasn't paid dues yet. So being a member of the organization and then a local chapter.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty specific question. What I would recommend is go ahead and send that to productowners@avasol.com.
Okay, my next question. After 2017 GA, when do you expect the next EAGA release?
As soon as possible. We can't predict when we're going to do that. We can predict when we're going to do the next release. There's a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. We are working on future enhancements. As far as when the release will be, the next release will be done, that's not been decided yet. So it's we just came out with this one, so we've not even talked about when we're going to release the next one.
Okay. In the release notes, there's a minimum hardware listing for a workstation. Is that for a staff running desktop, or does it apply to staff site users as well?
I'm not sure what they're talking about. A web browser is a web browser, so that's one thing. I think they're talking about the desktop, and that would probably be for the desktop.
Is there a plan to add the ability to schedule email sending times at creation time like other third-party products like eCommunicate instead of having to create set send times with process automation tasks?
That's a great suggestion. I believe we do have that on our backlog. But yeah, no, I understand. That's a great suggestion, and thanks for putting that in.
In the 2017 release, is auto-pay an additional license?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Have there been any security enhancements to the individual modules for the staff site in this release, like restrictions or read-only views for certain staff members?
I believe there has, specifically where. That would be another good one to send to us so we can give them more details. But generally, we've added more security as we've added more functionality, such as the accounting and setup, that type of stuff. So I need to know exactly where they're talking about.
Okay. Are you working on an annual release schedule like 2018, 2019, et cetera?
Our goal is to always have a release as soon as we can. As soon as we get product done that we've been showing in the sprint reviews, we want to get that out so people can start using it. Like I said before, we've not actually even scheduled the next release yet since we just rolled this one out. We're still kind of catching our breath and cleaning up from this release. But we'll announce it as soon as we know.
Okay. Is there still the 25 instance maximum on the app server?
That is a question I would not know. I know they've been working on those like performance and that type of things. I think we're past that. But again, that would be a good question to send to productowners@avasol.com for us to follow up.
Okay. And what is appearing to be my last question, and that is, so do you have to be a system admin to edit IQAs?
No, you shouldn't have to be a system admin.
And that was indeed the last question.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Brian. And everyone have a good day.
Thanks.